subject teacher, Sir Gilbert Ingada. So I am Musmir Lumabao from Bachelor Secondary Education, major in English. So this speech by President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. The plenary session of the Forum of the Valday International Discussion Club and Russia. World Order seen from the East. So President Putin, heads of states, the Valday Discussion Club, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. For over 2 decades after the end of the Cold War, Philippines' foreign policy hardly evolved. Russia, for instance, remained on the margins of our diplomacy. I viewed this as an oversight of strategic proportion, a result of bureaucratic inertia, a symptom of blind attachment to bygone views and assumptions, and a massive failure to grasp change and seize new opportunities. The Filipino nation, of course, deserved better. Thus, when I assumed the presidency in 2016, I vowed to correct this. In 2017, I visited Russia for the first time. Although it was cut short, I believe it led to meaningful and historic developments in our relations. When I say it was cut short, I had to go home because the Marawi, a city in Mindanao, in the Philippines, was a brewing evolving into an endless violence. We intend to stay this path, and that is why I am very glad to be here for the second time. I thank President Putin for the opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to a robust and comprehensive Philippines-Russia partnership. I'm also grateful to the Valday Discussion Club for his honor to speak before you on a topic of great importance to us, that of order and change in world politics. I'm talking about fairness and equality for a stable global order. The liberal global order, built after the Second World War, was the Pax Americana, appears to be under challenge. As the 21st century unfolds, the legitimacy of this order is increasingly questioned, its appeal weakened, and its hold over countries diminished. Tama. I see 2 key factors that could explain this situation. First is the combination of exceptionalism and double standard that we have seen time and time and again from the beginning for the very vanguards of the current order. The great Russian novelist Lev Tolstoy wrote, "So all happy families are all alike. Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way." This is the same line for nation. Developing countries like the Philippines with our own histories face different challenges and our problem that will require different set of solution. Yet some so-called friends act like they know the answer to our problems and impervious to our specificities, socioeconomic and political condition. They create rules and norms for almost everyone and seem refuse to be bound by the same. Think of the UNCLOS, the Paris Agreement and climate change, and even the Convention on the Right of the Child. They weaponize human rights oblivious to its damaging consequences to the very people they seek to protect. So just look at the chaos and instability that ensued in Libya and Iraq following military interventions. Closer home, some of our partners have hurled unfair criticism against my government about perceived excesses in our fight against a drug. They say what they want to say to justify their preconceived notions and not trying to understand that what truly is happening in my country. Is this how frankate each other? We have assumed them backtrack from defense contracts our baseless apprehensions that we would use arms to violate human rights. Yet you see the same countries supplying high-end weaponry to parties whose actual human rights record leaves so much to be desired. But we only seek to protect our republic from those who wish who wish to tear it apart. We only seek to curb criminality that corrodes the very structure of government. We only seek to build a credible defense against those who might be tempted or tempt to violate our territorial integrity. So, is this not something that all nations are entitled to? Is this not what democratically elected government are mandated to do? Mandate to do. By their act, they weaken my government's ability to protect law-abiding citizens from the outlaws. They limit our capacity to stop the vicious cycle of internal conflict and underdevelopment, and they clip our wings and making it more difficult for us to affect meaningful change for our people. Now, let me ask you this. In what universe is this right? Justifiable or fair? No, here but in the self-content bubbles of some societies that had the luxury of developing first. We are tired of the misguided and self-serving crusades of the few. It is time that they are challenged. Let me be very clear. I'm not against the United States and or the ways the US is a close friend of the Philippines. In fact, in our only treaty, we have deep ties with the American people, forged by shared history and nourished by common values. America certainly can offer so much to the world. Let me stress, I'm not against liberalism and the politics as in the economy. Liberalism, to my mind, creates the base pathways to a just and a fair society. For a thriving democracy like the Philippines, there are simply no other better alternative to a philosophy that puts premium on the freedom and dignity of the individual. Our issue is not the current global order, but rather the action of certain actors that violate the very principle that underpin this order. The Philippines does not ask for special treatment. The Philippines does not ask for special treatment nor favors from the partners. It does not seek exemption from the norms and principles that have kept the pace in our world for decades. What we seek, as I assume what the Russian people in all nations also desire, is a fairness, equality, and mutual respect. We want a strengthened rules-based order where a country is big or small are treated the same. We want unpended freedom guaranteed by our constitution to exercise our right to govern ourselves as a people and as we saw it fit. And we want friends and partners to respect our independence to make sovereign decisions just as we respect theirs. The principle of respect for state sovereignty, non-intervention, and peaceful resolution of disputes must be upheld to all times, otherwise the order unravels. So, this is crucial, especially now with the rise of new powers and the relative decline of the old. The geopolitical shift is the second challenge to the current global order. In the remaining 3 years of my term, we will likewise expand the horizon of Philippines diplomacy by deepening our engagement in Latin America, Africa, and Central Asia. It is also high time that the Philippines look at the Middle East with fresh eyes going beyond oil and overseas Filipino workers. As one of the fastest growing economies in the world, the Philippines will assume our twin responsibility to sustaining the growth of our people while helping other developing countries in their own journey to progress. We will strengthen our economic ties with these regions, opening new markets and win it the free exchange of ideas, technology, and innovation. For the Filipino people to broaden the worldwide view, to be enriched by the cultures and intellectual tradition of the world, old civilization of the Americas, Africa, Central in the Middle East. So, ended, parochialism and isolationism have no place in a world that is getting smaller and smaller by the day. We have to embrace our shared destiny if we are to overcome the existential challenges of our time. But make no mistake, while we recognize the interdependence of nations, we hold firstly sacrosanct our own independence. Openness to cooperation without precondition is the answer to the serious threats we face today, from terrorism to climate change, from migration issues to refuse crisis, and from new pandemics to looming shortage of vital resources. These are multidimensional problems that cut across issues of national identity, human rights, developing and the sovereignty. Clearly, we have no choice, or we have to act together to survive and prosper together. So instead of using these issues as tools of maintain the status quo to make the rich richer and the poor poorer, as some wealthy nations are wont to do, we have to help each other. If we pursue genuine cooperation, we need on not just between sustaining development and protecting the environment, and between promoting diversity and maintaining national identities, or between upholding human rights and preserving local social order. Balancing these seemingly contradictory goals in the fundamental challenge of our time. In this context, our United Nations must keep up the reinvigorate global efforts towards creative solution commensurate to the complexity of our common problems, but it must do so while uploading the principle in ideas that all nations and not only individuals hold dear. This is also the opportune time for us in the global south, those who choose to be non-aligned, not to ensure that we remain relevant more than making our voice heard on issues that deeply affect us, we must act together. So, Your Majesty, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we all have a stake in that stable global order. In this period of flux, it is important that we expand our notion of ourselves to include others, so that we choose to the enduring power of persuasion over cohesion, and that we follow the path of peace in order to achieve our shared and novel aspiration for our people. So we only wish peace for all mankind. Thank you, and that's all, sir.